Storygram Network.
Hosting for this podcast is generously provided by Transistor at transistor.fm.
Hi, my name is Laurelee, and this is It's Not About Food. So it's not about food, and it's not about weight. What is it about? Everything else, because it's never ever about food or weight, never ever, not even one time, not ever, ever, ever. Hello, everyone. This is Laurelee Roark from It's Not About Food podcast. And today we're going to be talking about honoring. And the front of the card is the goddess is sitting on a yoga mat and she's sort of kneeling on the mat and she has her meditation bolster behind her and the deer is going down to sort of lay down with her. And the name of the card, again, is honoring. And in the back it says, honoring means understanding we are sacred beings. And our bodies are sacred. They are not objects to be sculpted and forced to meet cultural ideals. They are not a commodity to manipulate in order to measure our self-worth. By de-objectifying and creating reverence for our bodies, we become free to experience the wisdom, magnificence, and magic of our bodies. And what I really love about this card is it kind of puts us back into the ownership of our bodies, that these are our bodies. This is my vehicle to move around the world in, this is my stomach to eat with. This is my teeth. This is my hair. And that it's not a commodity to be sculpted. It's not it's a whole different thing when I just like it for what it is, which is my body. I see that you have a little boy that's on the podcast with you, and that little boy is just okay in his body, I'm sure, and doesn't worry, do these little pants make my butt big? Did this diaper make my butt look big? Or, just all about very cool that I have this noise and I have this body that I can hang around in. It's very sweet. So we're talking about honoring and, of course, honoring the body and sort of hands in prayer, sort of bowing to ourselves and honoring who we really are, body, mind, and spirit, and how great that is when we can remember that. So I'm really so happy to have Claire here with me today. And she and Harrison are going to talk about honoring. So I'll introduce Claire. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing a solid okay, which is probably good these days.
Yeah, it is. The little one.
Yeah. So as you might have heard, I've got Harrison here, who's 4 months old and lots of energy and just wanting to be a part of the world and lots to say. I don't know what he's saying, but he's exploring. And
it's very sweet. So you had, this is something that we don't really have to ask another culture, I think. We have to ask this one because we're so insane about weight and baby fat and food and stuff in the culture that we live in, is that you got to have 2 babies. And how was those messages that kind of came at you? How did you navigate through that?
Yeah, it was definitely somewhat of a challenge. Growing up as a teenager, I struggled a lot with food and weight, and then miraculously found you. And it's funny, as I'm just on this healing journey, I don't feel like I'm totally recovered. I'm recovering from this disorder.
We're not done until we're done.
But I do feel farther along than I've ever been. And getting pregnant, gaining weight, being okay with gaining weight. And it blew my mind. And then after you have the baby, then you've got to deal with your changing body. And even when you do maybe go back down to the weight you were before, your size is different and you're a little older and you're a mother. And so you're not going to be wearing the things you were wearing before. I mean, maybe you are, if you are, good for you, but that wasn't my experience. And then you do it all again. And it's just like, whoa, I mean, yeah, it was definitely the biggest transformation I went through, mind, body, and soul.
Wow. And how are you doing right now with this little 4-month-old? Did the last time that you went through it, are you remembering how that was and navigating a little bit easier?
Definitely. I've been telling people that, I'm just appreciating the wonderful, sweet things more. And then I know that all the hard stuff passes. And it's not like it's easier, but I'm better at it.
Yep. You know what to expect.
Yeah. And maybe that's how it was with the pregnancy too. It was still uncomfortable being larger and trying to find clothes that I did feel good in or, comfortable in. Yeah, it's definitely, I have more confidence this time around. I'm like, okay, I get how this thing's going.
I understand this now. Yeah, definitely. I also think that, I only had one child, so I didn't have that experience of the second one, but there was something about he grew and he was okay. And so I guess I did an okay job, So I had to get myself off whatever hook I was putting myself on, about that.
Yeah, there is so much pressure, especially these days too, with moms and just life and how you're doing and the mom guilt and there's a lot on us and losing the baby weight and
oh God. I can remember Carol, maybe it was her second child, and when we were doing groups in San Rafael together, we would run out between doing individual therapy and then before group started to the same restaurant a lot, like once a week. And so the woman saw Carol go through pregnancy. And then at some point she had the baby and I went in there and she said, "Did your partner have a baby?" And I said, "Yeah." And she says, "So did she lose that baby weight?" And I said, "It was last week. She grew a human." I don't want to talk about that right now. She has a healthy, happy baby, and she's healthy and happy, and we're all happy, and we're not even thinking about that. Anyway.
No, not at all. And it's amazing how people just feel at liberty to comment on bodies, especially when a woman's pregnant. Even more so. It's just like,
exactly.
oh, wow. Oh, wow, you're 5 months, you're so big. Or, oh, you're not that
you're not
big.
When you're this, you're going to have a boy, you're going to have a girl, they have a lot of hair, they don't have hair, blah, blah, blah.
I had the funniest comment when I was hiking in Marin with a friend. I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant. And, my friend and I were hiking and these two little ladies passed us and they said, "Oh my goodness, when are you due?" And I said, "Oh, like in a month or two." And they were like, "Wow, you have a very generous cavity." I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, huh?
Oh my God, that's such a weird way to say that.
It was definitely one of the stranger comments that I got. It's like, okay, I don't know what that means, but thanks.
So weird. Wow.
Yeah. So people really just do feel at liberty to comment, especially on bodies and man.
And so when you think about this card that you picked, let me know what's your thought process of why you picked this card, especially at this point right now.
Yeah. Well, I thought about what I needed right now. And, the whole thing just, if you want to learn something, you teach it, or, you got to
exactly
what you preach, or what do I want my daughter, especially my daughter. Gosh, I think about my daughter who's 2.5. I think about her all the time with her body, and she loves her body, and she points to her belly and she loves her stomach, and she's just, I don't know. It's incredible watching her. And there's so much I want to pass down to her. And they say, don't buy your kids the things you wish you had, teach them the things you wish you'd known.
Wow.
And so and my husband just loves to get her presents. It's so funny. But I do, want to think about the lessons or the things that I want to teach her, and I need to model them. And the honoring card just spoke to me so much, because after all these years, all this recovery that I've done, I am still surprised how I do pick apart my body. And, this part's a little flabby and these clothes don't fit the way they used to. And I just, I can get down on myself. And so I want to be more in practice of honoring and celebrating and appreciating. And I mean, going through pregnancy and having a child, like, what better way to just be in awe of your body?
I know.
And women's bodies. And
yes.
I'm making food for my son. My body is producing nourishment for him. And it's astounding. And I think that I just need to flip it. I love that saying, which wolf are you going to feed, and am I going to be moving towards picking apart my body, or am I going to be moving towards appreciating it and honoring it and celebrating it?
Well, it's sort of like when you hear that old voice that we've all heard in this culture forever. All we have to do is walk outside and it'll be there. We can talk back to that voice. Wait a minute. I just grew a lung. I just grew some fingers and toes today, stop. And I just feel like that's to go to what our bodies do rather than what they look like. How wonderful they are that they get us through our lives. And if we don't have one, we don't get to be here, period.
Yeah, I remember being in groups with you and getting to the part in the program where we had, body appreciation. And to me, it was just mind blowing. It was just like, wait, what? We're going to talk about what we like about our bodies and show some appreciation, because that was such a radical idea to me, because for years I had just been saying what I didn't like about it, that I didn't even know what I liked about it and couldn't even pause to see everything that it had been doing for me.
Yeah, no, we can't. Because if we do, then that means we give up, and we can't give up because we need to always be working on getting better, at all times. So it's such a mind, what. But I think about that early recovery that we all go through if we're lucky enough to get into recovery, of that we have to go there with ourselves. We have to go to the appreciation of what it can do rather than what it looks like. And why is that such a foreign thing? That should just be second nature, really. It shouldn't be weird that we have to learn how to do that. It should, because again, I'm looking, we're seeing each other on Zoom, and I'm not seeing any kind of fear from this little being about, I don't know if I should be putting my hands in my mouth right now. It's just all about being in there, being in life. It's beautiful, beautiful to see.
My mom, she was saying at one point with my daughter, I forget what, maybe 2, she's almost 3 now, but she was about 2. And my mom was saying, she's such a little body being. She's just she's in her body. And she's just this like little magical stage, where, she's not thinking about her thighs or really her body in a negative way at all. She's just there.
Storygram Network.
Welcome to One Media, One Media.
When you're whining with nurses.
It's a place I like to call The Bleed.
My name is Laurelee, and this is It's Not About Food.
The art of being yay isn't just something he developed.
Storygram Network.
And hopefully, if she does hear some kind of crap, which she will, of course, but she has a very good teacher in front of her that will go, what's that about? Or, I feel like in a lot of ways, I got to do that for my granddaughter because I didn't let her get away with anything like that. You know, my nieces or my whatever, any like little kid that I could be around. I just would try to change the perception of what they were saying even because they were following a script that they didn't even make themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that is so sad that we take these beautiful little beings and then try to mold them into something that they're not, take them away from who they really are. It's crazy.
Yeah. I want to know who decided when it was okay to say fat people weren't beautiful and cute. And because when there's a baby and they're gaining all this weight, oh, they're so chubby. Look at those rolls. Look at those. I just want to eat him. I just want to like, oh, he's so chubby. And they're just like, oh, you must, good job, mama. You must be feeding him really well. Wow. What a good eater, and then somewhere at some point, then all of a sudden it's not okay to have those rolls, those chubby cheeks. And
it's insane. It's really insane. And I think about clients that I've had that go, well, I was a really fat child and a fat little girl. And I'm like, really, were you? I mean, what does that even mean? What does that? Oh, I've always been fat and I've never liked it. Maybe we should just be okay with how you are. Maybe that's the message, that maybe you weren't a fat little girl. It's so crazy, these labels we were told, and then we put on ourselves too, for sure. And it's crazy making. It's crazy making for the child. It's crazy making for the people around you. So how do we get to that place? How do we get to the place where we stopped objectifying our bodies and just go to what it can do, what it is?
Yeah. I mean, we just keep moving. We just keep sharing the message and screaming it from the rooftops and doing the work that you're doing and talking to our daughters and our nieces and our granddaughters and just doing the best we can to reverse this just oppression, this body oppression.
Yes, it is. Keeping ourselves in a little tight box so that we don't run willy-nilly or in the world or something. I don't know. But I also think about this last line in the honoring card of, we become free to experience the wisdom, magnificence, and magic of our bodies. And I can think of when I was still struggling with my body and my weight, I would hear something like that and I'd be like, forget it. There is no way I'm going to be okay with the wisdom and magnificence of my body. I just thought it was something I needed to trade in for a better one.
A new model,
a new shiny, faster, stronger, sleeker. Yeah. It was a rude awakening when I realized that wasn't going to happen. So right now you have a little context to put out whatever you would like to about this idea. And you're in it, you're in it with your body and with your baby's body. And you have a little girl body and a husband body, so how are you doing that? How are you navigating that?
Oh man. I mean, now I feel inspired. How can I spread this in my own family? And I remember when I was little, my parents would ask us, what was the best and worst part of your day? We would go around the table and we would all share that. And maybe, I can start with my daughter and say, what did your body do for you today?
Oh, it's so great.
And I can ask my husband and I can ask myself and we can all share about that. Like, my body did this today and it was amazing, just to.
Yes. There's a thing going around on Facebook. It says, tell me one thing you did today that was really awesome. And there's all this stuff. It's actually pretty good. But what I wrote is, I woke up.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't die.
I'm still here.
It's pretty simple. it didn't just die in its sleep. I woke up with my body today. That's what I did. That's a great thing to do. I love that, to go around the table and say that. I just, what do you think your daughter would say?
I mean, she definitely have to, listen to us first to kind of, understand it. And then, maybe if she, at daycare, if she did a drawing, hands drew for her hands painted for her legs, they took her on a walk. They do this little walk every day. So it'll be interesting. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cute. Yeah. I can remember, I'm sure you've seen it too, like the first time they can do something, take a step or swim or, pick up a spoon and put it in their own mouth. And it's just, wow, this is incredible. Has anybody seen me do this before? It's just, everything is such a joy to watch, it's so sweet.
Yeah, it really, it's incredible to watch and see her advance and grow and learn. And I have to catch some of the things coming out of my mouth. I'm surprised when, the things around food too, just as far as I've come and as much work as I've done with myself. And my husband, oh my gosh, I have to catch him all the time. Like, don't say that to her, like,
I know.
You have your dessert after you finish all your food. And I'm like,
who said that?
No. And I was like, I tell her, I say, listen to your body. What's your body telling you? Is your stomach growling? Is it saying still hungry? Or is it saying that it's full, and maybe it's full and she's got to keep eating to see that hurts her tummy. And it's, radical. And I struggle too sometimes, like, oh, if you don't eat, you're going to be cranky. And then I've got to deal with the cranky, So,
yeah.
It's fascinating though, because children like us, they're sometimes hungry and sometimes not. And yes, it is time to eat. And this is the time to eat. And we hope that you eat because we're eating too. But if you're not going to eat, that's okay. And my friends really struggle with kids, her age, like getting them to eat. They're like, you got to eat, they're just take a bite of this, take this, clear your plate. They're still saying that message is still out there. And it really is telling them to go against their hunger cues. Oh, I'm full, but my mom's telling me I need to keep eating. And it's mind blowing.
Right. Well, it's all dependent on how much energy the mom or dad have that can they pull all of this out again in an hour when they are hungry again. And that's sort of our job to do that. And I think of my grandson and my granddaughter and even my son just would eat exactly what they wanted to eat, when they wanted to eat, and how much they wanted to eat. And there was no way to talk them into anything else.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. Sometimes my daughter wants seconds and I'm like, wow, really? And then other times she doesn't.
Right. She's listening.
Food. Some days I eat a lot and some days I don't eat a lot too. And sometimes I'll stop and I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's noon. Have I eaten? Or the other night I had pizza for dinner and my mom was here. She was eating an enchilada and she was like, this is so good. You got to have one. And I was full, but I ate it anyway because she was like, it's so good. And then after that, I was like, wow.
I ate one enchilada too much.
I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm really uncomfortable. And it was a good reminder to honor my body, honor the fullness. Can I tell you a story real quick?
Yeah.
About food. I was at Costco the other day and I was just trying to get through, and I saw this giant Costco size thing they called them mini carrot cakes. And they were like big mini carrot cakes.
Yeah.
And I love carrot cake. And I was like feeling stressed. And I was like, I'm going to buy that whole thing of carrot cake. I got it. And I came home and instead of eating lunch, which I had some leftovers and I can't remember what it was. And I ate the little mini carrot cake. And it's not mini, like the size of my hand, like.
Yeah. It's not a sheet cake.
No, not quite a sheet cake, but not a mini cake. It was like, anyway. So then I thought about it and I was like, oh man, I totally ate my feelings. I kind of beat myself up a little bit. And I was like, oh, why'd you do that? You should have had something more healthy. And then I paused and I was like, I didn't really eat my feelings. I ate what I wanted, and I had a carrot cake for lunch. And that's okay. You know, it's not what I usually have. And I'm just going to check in with myself and see how my body's feeling. And it's not like I wasn't binging. And even if it was, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know? But it's funny, like it wasn't like looking back. It was like, yeah, maybe I was feeling a little stressed, but the carrot cake just, it felt good. It sounded good. It tasted good. And I ate it with zeal.
Yes.
It was like, I wasn't quite wolfing it down, but I was really enjoying it. And yeah, and I had carrot cake for lunch, and that's never something that I feel like I probably could have done before. You know, I really would have beat myself up, and I did start to, and then I stopped, and then
I just feel like we are so hard on ourselves at a moment's notice, rather than good job, Claire. You know, you were hungry and you got something to eat and you ate and you got through Costco and you got through your life that day. And thank goodness for that. That sort of, we get so far away from the honoring of our own choices. And it's sort of like get it into reality of, you didn't start a nuclear war. You had a carrot cake. And, you know, weren't shooting heroin or robbing a bank. It was sort of like, let's put this in perspective. This is a carrot cake. And in your whole life, all the meals that you've ever had and ever will have, this is such a small blip on the screen. And I don't know. I just feel like we're so hard on ourselves. And again, I know that this little boy that is right in front of me on Zoom, he would not go, oh, did you see how much of that milk I drank? I am so upset with myself. What was I thinking?
Yeah. He talk about eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. He will not keep nursing when he's full. Nope.
No.
Even if I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't eat as much long as you're supposed to. You've got another like 5 minutes. Come on. He's like, no, I'm full.
I'm done. I'll catch you later.
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder if you will read the last part of this honoring card. Do you have it there?
I do.
Okay.
Today, I will experiment with looking at my body and other people's bodies as if they are sacred and full of wisdom. I will stop treating my body like an object and start respecting my body's wisdom, beauty, and magic. Throughout the day, I will practice honoring my body's wisdom.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And we have to do that, really, or we can't make it through the life that we live. I mean, we have to let go of, we can't keep saying, okay, breathe, okay, chew, okay, walk, okay, breathe, okay, heartbeat. We have to let it go and let our bodies do what they do. We drive ourselves insane.
Yeah. It's sort of, you know, like in a relationship too. It's like, are you going to, you know, say what you hate about the person? Or are you going to focus on what you love about the person? Which direction are you going to go in? And you have a choice. And it's so important to pause and remember that.
Right. Well, I am so honored that you were here today to talk about this and brought your little babe at the same time. And just really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to do this for me and to be on our podcast. And thank you very much. I know you're going to Hawaii tomorrow, so aloha.
Thank you. Aloha to you and at you. I'm honored to be here and honored to know you and the work that you have dedicated your life to. And just, I've had so many people call me too and ask like, how'd you do it? What'd you do? You know?
Yeah.
And I get to share the work and continue it. And I'm so grateful for you and everything that you're continuing to do. So keep doing it and I'll keep spreading it too.
Good. Thank you so much. And thank you for those nice, sweet words. And back at you, sister. Okay. See you later.
Hey, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. And be sure and follow me on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and itsnotaboutfood.com. Thanks.